So you're looking for a solo build that is able to be played without any expansions and is still very, very strong. This is it. This Core Guardian build can be played multiple ways, and one of the variants that I will present to you today is actually without any expansion locked content. So without much further ado, let's jump right in. Short disclaimer, all the credits for this build go to Numixia again. Thanks for sharing this build with me. So for the gear, you can go full aggressive with Viper gear, but I chose to go with Celestial because for open world content, Celestial with Trapper Rune provides a lot of damage and you have a lot of defenses baiting the kit as well. Of course, if you don't want to go for Celestial, you can also go with Viper, which is a really, really aggressive option. For Relic, you go with Relic of the Fractal. Every single piece of your equipment is Celestial. You use Pistol with Scepter Torch. This is the build where you have at least Soto expansion. If you don't have the Soto expansion, then you would swap Pistol to Sword Shield. Link to the both builds is in the description below. So why are we choosing Trapper Rune? And if you want to go for infusions, you would go with Condi infusions. The reason is this build is heavily burning focused. So if you go with Celestial, it's more like a Condi build, just with a lot of defenses in it. Power damage is nice, but it's not that important. Also, the boon duration helps a lot to upkeep all the boons that you have, and the expertise makes it very, very damaging. Let's quickly talk about the sigils. So for sigils, you want to have both weapon sets. Doesn't matter which kind of weapons you use. If you're pistol or sword shield, all of them you want to have Sigil of Bursting on one of the weapons, and on the other weapon you want to have Torment or Earth Sigil. So to get a little bit more other condis as well that deal some nice damage. Important part here is the Earth Sigil and the Torment Sigil proc upon landing a critical hit. You are Celestial, you have Fury, so you crit half of the time at least. So this is happening quite often and you can proc that in ICT. If you go for the non-Soto, also the really core Guardian build without any expansions, you also want to go for the Relic of the Defender. Reason for that is, this Fractal Relic gives you the most damage, but the Relic of the Defender gives you more healing and is also available from the TP. So for the consumables, you want to go with Fishy Rice Balls for sure. 15% increased burning duration is a must, plus the condition damage, really, really good food. And then you go with Tuning Icicles for more condition damage. Doesn't matter if you are on Viper or Celestial, those two are really, really good. Let's very quickly cover the skills before I go to the traits. So you have a lot of options on this build. So you can go with Shelter, which is really, really strong if you go for the Defender Relic. Otherwise, you can either go for the Signet of Resolve, really, really strong, or if you want to be a little bit more active with your heal, you can also go with Litany of Wrath. All three are really available. Especially the Shelter one is really nice if you don't want to take any damage, especially with the Defender Relic, you have a lot of healing on top of that as well. Then always go with Sword of Justice and Purging Flames just for the damage, and this also removes comment on this. And if you are not that much pressured, you would go always with Feel My Draft. Just some nice quickness application and Fury. If you are really high pressured in some fights, you can swap that for Renewed Focus to get some invulnerability and resets of your virtues. But most of the time you should not. The last slot is completely open, you can use anything. Typically, if you want to have maximum damage, you go with Signet of Wrath. If you need some more healing, you can go with Bow of Truth. You can go with Hold the Line, Stand Your Ground. Even Advance can be an option if you run Defender Relic. You can have some Reflects here, you have Sanctuary if you need a lot of CC. And there are a lot of options. So I chose to go this time with Save Yourselves, but in most fights I also just chose the Bow, because it has a nice trade interaction, but Save Yourself is so strong in PvE. It's a stun break, gives you all the boons almost, and they are really long lasting. Especially Protection is really nice in solo fights, so I think this is a very solid pick as well. So just switch your utilities and healing skill to whatever you currently need. So for the traits, we have Seal, Radiance, and Virtues. Seal gives you a lot of damage. You get some nice passive damage, you get Symbols Inflict Vulnerability. It's your main source of vulnerability and is mostly enough to get vulnerability up. Then your Symbols deal more damage. That's really important here. Gain Might while your Virtue Skill 1 passive effect triggers. This is really important because you don't use your F1 ever. There's only one exception when you would use that. When the boss is about to die, then you can use it, or when there are mobs that are also about to die and resets. But never use it to get permanent burning procs and of course a lot of might. On Scepter you get more might, so that's really important. Then gain condition damage based on your power, really strong, a lot of condition damage. If you can't upkeep vulnerability all the time, you can swap to this trait and you get a lot of vulnerability as well. Then spirit weapons gain additional casts and burn force with the first strike. This is really important. That's why the bow is actually also a valid choice. But I would say this is mostly for the Sword of Justice because it's a huge amount of damage. Also the vulnerability is crazy good. So you have always a really strong option just because of this trait. Then Radiance, you get some nice blind. You get reset on your F1 when you kill something. So that's why you can use it when you are about to kill something, but never use it any other way. And then just some nice ferocity and crit chance increase. Then some Fury, really helpful as well. Then this is really important because your Torch is a main damage skill. Burning Your Inflict has increased duration as well. And the Zealot Flame is really strong, so always try to upkeep it and use it in the last second to get both valued. And then Amplified Wrath, really important. Burning Your Inflict is increased damage, just straight up really good. And then Burning Duration applied by the passive effect of Virtue Skill 1 is increased, which is one of the most amounts of burning that you apply is by this skill 1. And this is really increased by this trait, really important. And then Virtues, just some boons that you get from your activating your Virtues. You would only activate F2 and F3. F1, like I said, not that much. Resolution, yeah, quite nice. And then more condition damage based on your vitality, and the root charge is reduced. Concentration, which is only this one, 2 seconds longer. That's nice. And I go for Absolute Resolve because just passive or healing when you have that up, and it's a Condi Cleanse if you use it. If you don't need Condi Cleanse, if you don't need the passive healing, then the best option is Inspiring Virtue just because more damage helps. But I would say for a solo build, if you need Condi Cleanse, go with this. And then Permeating Wrath, really important trait. The passive effect of Virtue Skill 1 triggers more quickly and now burns in an area. This is especially important if you're fighting multiple foes and they can bounce, so to say, their bonds to each other just because of that. It's really strong. And of course, it's also faster activated, the F1, so that in conjunction with this trait, it's really strong. So the traits really fit well together and you don't need to play Dragon Hunter, Firebrand or Willbender. It doesn't really matter. You can also play it like this with Core Guard and you can see it's really strong from the damage. When it comes to the weapon skills, like I said, you don't have to play Pistol. Pistol is of course a really strong Condi weapon set with the symbol that gives you Smite and Burning Application with the other skills as well, some CC and a lot of other Condis on your weapons. It's also ranged. That's really important. All your weapons here are ranged. Scepter is really important just for the vulnerability and might, and another more vulnerability, and the Torch of course for a lot of burning. Don't use your 5 skill, it's not that important. Only use it if you don't have any other skill up. It's the worst skill that you have on this weapon set. So important part here is if you swap to Sword Shield, you would only use Sword Shield if you really need to go in melee range and just try to auto attack as much as you can, because the shield does only provide you a lot of healing and it's only working with Defender Relic. So that's why I say if you have Soto, go with Pistol. It's way better in the damage department. But if you are full core player and don't have Soto, then you have to go with the Sword Shield and with, of course, the Defender Relic to make use of the shield and the H's, which also heals you then on your 4th skill. So rotation-wise, always try to use this symbol first and try to use all your skills that have a lot of multi-hits, like the Sword, like the 4, like the 2, even the Purging Flames to get use out of the burning procs here. And of course, use your weapon skills accordingly. They are all important to get damage done. It's not like a real rotation, just use them whenever they are off cooldown. Focus, of course, on this 2 and the 3. And on Scepter, always use the 2. The 3 skill you can use for CC, but it's not a damage increase, so always go for more auto attacks if you have enough vulnerability up and don't need CC. And of course, like I said, use the 4 skill when once, and when it's about to run out, you should use it again. And the 5 skill only if you really need more damaging hits, because the burning is only on the last attack, so it's not that strong. It's only applying a lot of attacks just because of the Virtue of Justice gives some nice burning application. Like I said, don't activate Virtue of Justice. Use this as a healing or condition removal if you have the trait as a last resort. Use this as a last resort for protection and some H's. Passively, it also gives you some nice benefits, so try to not use it too easily. And of course, like I said, switch your utility skills to what you need. You can see in the background, it's really easy, this build, to get a nice damage number with this build. To survive on this build, you have to be a little bit careful what you are doing and just use your blocks wisely and your healing skills wisely. But you can see Nomexia actually shows this. You can do Mama, which is the first boss of the 96 Fractal CM at the current state, solo without taking any damage. So you can see this build is extremely strong, what it is capable of doing in the right hands. So just that you know, you don't have to have any expansions to actually have a nice solo build. So I hope you enjoyed this quick guide. Thanks again, Nomexia. I hope you all found this really helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to all my supporters on Patreon, Twitch and YouTube. Thanks Timo, thanks Malice, and I hope to see you all in the next video.